So I'm here at the tech conference Uppstart. This behind me is the castle in Uppsala. The term Uppstart is a wordplay in Swedish between the two words startup and the town Uppsala, which is close to Stockholm, and Stockholm is the capital of Sweden. I live in this town, so I figured I'd swing by this conference and show you a few pieces of what's going on here. So let's go inside and see what's going on. So, as you can see, there were a fair amount of startups at Uppstart. So lots of companies, lots of different spheres. Biotech and biohacking, soccer statistics, productivity tools, food services. There was even one company trying to find something in the intersect between Bitcoin and virtual reality. Very wide spectrum. And I gotta say, talking to these startups was kind of my favorite part of this conference. It's kind of cool when you can get one-to-one with people in a very, very early stage. Clearly, some of these people are not in a very, very early stage, but some of them are. But enough about the demo booths, let's move on. So throughout the conference there was also this robot sort of sneaking around and checking out stuff, and here I'm actually trying to talk to the robot or talk to the people who are on the other side of the robot, but I'm not sure if there were two robots in the facilities because clearly the people on the other side didn't have any interest in talking to me. But I mean, at least I tried. So this is the main hall where the speakers had their presentations and where there were fireside chats.
So there was about 300 people at the first event. It started as kind of a small little mingle, a little gathering of people, mostly within the Uppsala area, a few from Stockholm, and it sort of exploded. And 4 years later, we now literally had to move to a castle. We got so crowded.
This dude is Jason. He's like the evil mastermind behind this conference. Also, fun fact, I, as many others, have been receiving emails from him for a very long time inviting me to this conference. And he has this amazing ability of writing his emails in a way that makes you feel like they're really personalized towards you, even though they're probably like mass emails. I just gotta say, it's a really good skill to have. Anyways.
So we had around about 1,000 people coming to Uppstart over the day today. It's become one of the largest startup conferences in the country. Certainly up there is probably the largest of its kind that's giving free tickets away still.
Yes, he said free tickets. Pretty awesome.
Which is really core to what I wanted to do with this event, to have a frictionless event that didn't cost anything to come, and for people who aren't necessarily in the startup scene to come and learn a little bit more about what's happening. There's going to be a session upstairs, it's an invite-only session at 1 o'clock, where 30 startups can be pitched into a room full of investors, and then we have a public session actually at 4 o'clock with the finalists. 4 companies will be pitching here at 4.
Stick around to the end, and I'll show you some key snippets from the finalist pitches. Very interesting products and services. Let's get back.
And we've had a pretty good track record of that, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. These are just a few, just doing a bit of digging around, asking people who actually got funding off the back of these pitching events.
So if I wasn't clear about that before, they're trying to connect investors and startups. So what he's saying is that there's actually been previous startups that actually successfully found funding via this conference. Pretty awesome. But enough of all this. Let's now actually get into the talks. So the first talk was building a tech startup in 5 days. 5 days. The speaker is Kajsa Lundborg, which is a co-founder of this company called Dropshipped. So apparently these presentations were all filmed and supposedly they'll be put on YouTube. So I'll only give you a few sort of key snippets that A, I managed to actually record, and B, also I found quite interesting. But stick around, because I mean there are some really valuable tips in some of these talks if you are or if you're considering to become a startup. But now some snippets from Kajsa Lundborg.
But if I could give you one recommendation, it would be to ship really, really early. Because even though we weren't completely satisfied of the look and feel of the website, we got so many good insights from our analytics. We could see that the target group that we thought that we had from the beginning was not really the target group that was our real target group. We thought it was hipsters, like 25-year-old men, but we figured out that it actually was 30-year-old women. That changed our website and our marketing a lot. And this is actually when the fun starts. I mean, we only had so little money to work with from the beginning, but now we actually had done some sales. During our first day, we sold 20 products, and we sold each product for 1,000 crowns. So now we had some money to work with. And now we could invest in web development, paid digital marketing, and actually grow our company. So my 3 learnings: just start. I was looking for the perfect business idea, but I don't think that that is the way we find it. Often it is that you just start with something and then you tweak the idea, or maybe meet a person or find another problem while you're running your business that will be the one solution that will give you the $1 billion idea. 2, fuck network. And what I mean with that is not to don't give a shit about people, it's about being curious and genuine. I met so many people that just want to use you, kind of, and I think that that is not the way it works. Just meet people, be passionate about what you're doing, and be curious and treat people with respect, and they will do the same for you. And 3, when there's a hinder, be the rabbit. And what I mean with that is that we had all the odds against us. We had no money, we were 3 broke students, we had jobs on the side, but we can still make a company that give us passive income, that can create opportunities for us.
Somewhere here there is a live fire because it smells like burning wood. Time for speaker number 2, Johan Lundstedt, who's a community manager at TubeCon International. So his talk is titled Influencer Marketing from the Trenches. So he spent lots of time talking about how companies who engage with creators misunderstand the needs of creators and thus actually potentially offend them. So here are some snippets.
Everyone is a creator and they don't need you. That's the first thing we need to realize. Everyone is a creator, that's pretty obvious. We're all creators in this room, and we all tell the story continually about our lives online. How you rise to prominence as a creator these days, in most cases, is a purely organic thing. So when you reach prominence, when you get a big following, you're usually as surprised and clueless as everyone else on what to do. That's one of the first lessons. There's a lot of people in that space that say that they understand it. Those are lies. This is the Wild West. And it will be the Wild West. It's the Wild West by definition, because it's always changing so fast. So everyone that says that they know what they're doing, they're not. Don't believe them. Even me, which is in this space all the time. And the fact that they don't really need you is another interesting thing, because they're so different from the old school celebrities in that they have full control over their production process, meaning they can film YouTube videos with their iPhone and get perfect result in their living room. They don't need a studio. Another thing is that they have full control over their distribution process, meaning they have a perfect, unfiltered way to talk to their fans directly. And they can interact through comments. I mean, it's a just one-on-one conversation. They don't need help with that. Another big thing that's different from how you would work with normal celebrities or old school celebrities is you have to realize that there's a big difference when you listen to a musical artist. I was a big death metal fan, a big chunk of my life. And some of these albums I've listened to untold times. And after a while, I feel very close to the artist. I feel that I understand what they want to say. But to compare that with following a vlogger, someone that vlogs their entire life every day, basically giving you a behind-the-scenes look at the person's life, both the bad stuff and the good stuff, for years, it's a completely different ballpark. So don't treat them like you are a record label and you can somehow help them reach anything. They don't need that. They need something else.
So now the first panel discussion, which is chaired by Jasmine Åkermark, which is actually, I guess the term is the presenter of the event, or I can't remember the term, but like the person who introduces all the people, etc. She runs one startup called GoTibba and another one called Svenska Nomader, which is like Swedish nomads. So a site for Swedes who are digital nomads. The Fireside Chat is about whether a startup in hardware is heaven or hell. And the two dudes who are in the Fireside Chat will introduce themselves in just a moment, so let's check it out.
I'm Ray. I'm co-founder of Food Drum, the virtual drum kit that we have on display outside as well. And also CEO and co-founder of Block Zero, the design and innovation studio based in Malmö that started Food Drum.
I'm Alper, I'm the CTO and co-founder of Untitled, and what we do is that we do 3D body scanning, currently active in footwear, so we scan people's bodies in 3D, we take their feet in physical retail stores, and using that we kind of recommend them the products that they use that are going to fit them, and also in the very near future build custom products that are made for you directly.
We love technology, we love playing around with the latest technology, and in recent years, I would say the past decade, the price of hardware and the price of doing that kind of exploration using hardware has dropped significantly. It's become democratized to a point that anyone can pick up an Arduino, anyone can pick up a number of sensors and start playing around.
Next speaker is this dude, Naveen, and he's the founder of NT Capital. And his talk has an epic title because his title is The Epic Exit. Let's look at some snippets.
He has done 5 successful exits and averaged over 3 billion. So welcome Naveen to the stage.
My talk is titled The Epic Exit, but to have an epic exit, and an exit usually means you sell your company for a lot of money, but an exit can also mean the start of something new, something exciting, something inspiring. But to have an epic exit, you need to design it. You need to architect your exit. And when I think of people who have been brave enough to do that, I don't think of Elon or Mark Zuckerberg. I actually think of my dad.
And then a large portion of his talk is actually focused around the story with his dad, which is a really good story. So if you're interested in that, and if you want to architect your exit, check out the description and check out his full video. But now, the next speaker is this woman, whose name is Therese Gedda. And the title of her talk is Designing a Thriving Startup Culture. So she's heavy on the point that culture is too important to just leave to chance. Maybe you can't control it, but you can definitely be deliberate about trying to create a culture in which people can thrive. Here are some snippets.
So when you have values that really matters to you as a single founder or multiple founders, and when you start to apply that to your culture, and we're going to go into how you will use it in a moment, that's when the magic starts to happen. If I'm asked to do something before 8 a.m., I'm a New York time, I'm an owl, you're not going to get, good results from me. If you ask me to do it 8 at night or 2 in the morning, not a problem. So it's not only a nicety, it's also from a productivity perspective massively different in the result and the feeling and the output you get from something. So working where when you are creative, combined to have a workplace that feels like home, that is in line with those values we talked about, that supports those values, really brings the team closer together. And it also shows to new candidates that want to join your company what your company is all about.
Now, this moment. This was a fireside chat called Early Stage Investing in the Nordics. I mean, the context is the Nordics geographically, right? But early stage investing. It was led by this dude, Robin, from tech.eu. He's a journalist. And then there were 2 venture capitalists, Jane Wallerud and Linus Dag. And from somebody who's never been intimately involved with venture capital, this was really interesting. If you ever have a chance to attend something where a venture capitalist speaks about investing or like what they expect, do it. Super interesting. Even if like you're an avid watcher of Planet of the Apps, Shark Tank, Dragon's Den, I mean, I'm an avid watcher of that, but even though, this was super interesting. Let's look at some quick snippets which I hope you can derive some value from.
We have a very, very interesting panel for you guys.
I want to have patents or some software developers or any developer, or so if you're doing AI, labeled data that nobody else has, including not Google and not Facebook, something that means it's hard to copy, which means you have time to build a company together. And then it has to be a real customer need where I can really see, oh yeah, that's a need I have too, and that's a need that I've seen in many ways. Okay, that's interesting.
I think in the first 2 minutes, the only thing, if I'm like, if I were to stick it just in 2 minutes, I would say passion as sort of the main sort of driver. Because you see, a lot of people are building something just because they found a little tiny hole in a market and realize no one is doing X for Y, but like the market is actually tiny. So I think that kind of passion on why you build something, you want that to sort of come across. The sort of willingness to, almost like borderline obsession sometimes. You know, that kind of thing, you kind of want to see that spark in the eye when they talk about it in the first 2 minutes.
My daughter was in San Francisco and listened to a company that was doing fake leather. They said, we've got a contract with Louis Vuitton, we're going to be huge, we're going to change the whole thing, there will be no luxury products with real leather ever again, right? And then she said, and how much leather are you producing at the moment? Oh, we can't produce any yet, we have to get some scientists involved. Okay, and then she came home and I met a couple of researchers at KTH doing something with wood, turning it nano something like that, right? And so the question was like, okay, so who does this? Well, you know, we think we can sell it to the cosmetic industry because it makes your wrinkles invisible. Wrinkles invisible is good, let me tell you, the English one, wrinkles invisible, it's extremely good stuff. Really? Yeah, we've got some. We haven't actually delivered much to them yet. Oh, you've delivered to them already. How much are you actually making? Oh, well, this week we have a little problem. It's only 10 grams a day, but sometimes it's 20. And by the end of the month, I think it's going to be up to 500. And I talked to them again a little while ago. They're about 5 kilos a day. Okay, these people, and they're going to say, well, you know, we're not really very far. We've only got one. But if they're American, they would say, we have something that you put it into makeup and people's wrinkles disappear. We're now producing 5 kilos a day and we're selling to these. I mean, that would be a wonderful pitch, but instead they're like, oh no.
You're absolutely right. From a journalist perspective, I see the same. Like I used to work in the for TechCrunch. You know, people would just be enthusiastic even if they didn't have a product or a customer yet. And here I think the pendulum swings a little bit the other way, where they spend 3 years building a kick-ass product and then they go, oh shit, now we have to sell this, how do we do this? Yeah. But now there's the pitches on stage, like what do we say about our product?
It's in a VC's kind of interest to always know what's going on. Like so even like with some companies that I've worked with, we've sort of set up a strategy when you get inbounds, because they're raising a B round, let's say, like they have to reach out. Like it might not mean they're actually interested or even want to do anything on it. So instead like flip it around, ask the investor, why are you interested in us? What's your take on our market? Why would you want to spend time with us and how would you contribute to that? So get back to the VC again to make sure that they can prove how would they add value to that specific company.
That requires a lot of confidence on the part of the entrepreneur where they feel they have several different opportunities for investors.
It is also more of a B stage kind of thing, rather than a seed first angel round, like ooh.
Or an entrepreneur who's been there before.
Next up, another fireside chat, same journalist who's chairing, and he's talking to this guy called Josh from StackPath. But the topic now is the art of finding a startup mentor. And the snippets that you'll see are mainly around the differences between a mentor and an advisor. Let's get into it.
To help guide you. They're not there to tell you which way to take your company. We're there to support you. Advisors are more specific to your startup and what it needs. I think of an advisor, if I start a company on my own, I need certain types of advisors. I need an expert in legal, I need an expert in accounting, I need an expert in my product, I need an expert in sales, marketing, distribution, and growth. Those are advisors. Very specifically, I'm looking for advisors to help me in each type of vertical for my company. Mentors are there to say, hey, you know, like, how are things going? Like, what's going on with you and what's going on with your company and how can I help? I think very rarely mentors should get into that advisory space. I think you have to have a very clear definition of, hey, I'm going to do this with you, I'm going to be on your journey, I'm going to be a guide, a Sherpa, whatever, a friend. And then advisors, I think it's a little bit more structured. I think it's a little more, it's just more formalized. Yeah, so I've been fortunate that as I've been in the tech world, I've kind of learned a lot more technology than I knew 6-7 years ago. I'm more of a generalist myself. I'm a strategy, biz dev, relationship guy. So when I meet startups and they ask me to mentor them, I kind of tell them my background or what I'm good at. And, you know, I've just been fortunate to have the technical expertise to be able to talk a little tech along the way. I don't really focus on one thing, but if I have a mentee come to me and say, look, you've been doing biz dev basically your whole life, you've been an entrepreneur, I'm like, great, let's talk. If they say, hey, I need somebody to like dig into my code and do code review, I tell them I'm probably not your guy. Yeah, so it's kind of that authenticity on the mentor side to say, look, this is what I'm good at, and this is what I can't do, because you never want to give startups in the mentor-mentee relationship any bad advice.
And now another interesting moment for Bitcoin enthusiasts. So this is Christian Ander. He, if I'm not mistaken, he's the dude who founded BTCX or Bitcoin X or Bitcoin Exchange or whichever way they normally call this. So I'm not on that exchange, but this is apparently the biggest Bitcoin exchange in the Nordic countries. He's a fairly charismatic dude. Let's check out some of the snippets from the Fireside chat about whether Bitcoin is breaking the bank. Let's get into it.
I was like, yeah, why not? I want to look into this. So I googled a bit about it, and I found a meetup in Stockholm in a basement. And at the time, I didn't dress like this. I was this typical computer nerd. But I have full confidence that we will find a solution. It's a big community all over the world, thousands of developers, and internet has the same problem like 20 and 30 years ago. So the combination of TCP and IP was like the magical trick. How do we get internet to scale? How do I have a network of 5 million people to communicate with each other? Yeah. They invented the router, Cisco, and Bitcoin will have the same journey, but we don't know how yet. Why would you need a vehicle that fast? Obviously, it's only if you're a bank robber. And this was a real problem. They had so much resistance because it was only the bank robbers and the thieves who would use a car. And today all of us have a car, so it's ridiculous. And Bitcoin is the same. So why would you need Bitcoin? It's only like a criminal who would send a transaction that goes within a second all over the world and is not really traceable. But now it is kind of traceable. But that's when Bitcoin came, that was not the case. But now it's in between. Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, yeah, there's tons of them. So basically what I say is all of them have a shot of becoming really big. And what I believe is 95% of all the cryptocurrencies and crypto tokens we see today will not be here in 3 years. Basically, it's like a startup. So have that in mind when you invest in something. Bitcoin has been around for more than 9 years. So it has already succeeded and will continue doing so. But some of the other cryptocurrencies will not. So when you do your investment spread, but the entire cryptocurrency field is growing. So most of the times, it doesn't matter what you invest in. If you just invest in 10 different currencies, within a year you will probably make, okay, I cannot say this, but you will probably double your money. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But it could go down.
Okay. So this is the final thing I want to show you from the Uppstart 2017 conference. This is the pitch up finals. So just to set the stage, what happened was that there was a number of pitches for, I believe, a group of venture capitalists, but this was in a private room, so it was not for everyone. But as said in the beginning by Jason, the best, I guess, collectively decided, or decided by the VCs, who knows. So the top 4 presentations were then allowed to pitch in front of all of the audience, and then we, the audience, got to vote for which was the best presentation using what that app is called, like Mentimeter or Menti, whatever. But I tried my best to extract the sort of key portions of the pitches, so let's check them out. And also clearly, if you find any of these startups interesting, do Google them, because I'm sure they'd be glad to have you as a customer. Let's get going.
My name is Will, and I have, together with Henrik, founded Homer. Homer gives homeowners one dedicated digital place to organize everything about their home and their household.
Hi everyone, I'm Georgina. I'm CEO of a company called Triple. So, how many of you, by show of hands, have ever been on one of these, a group tour abroad? Okay, quite a few of you. And how many of you have ever stayed in a hostel with maybe some questionable living conditions? Well, I guess there's some negative feelings around both of these images that you see here, both of these experiences. But one of the things that I think is super positive, and many people think is positive, and it's mostly to do with the hostel situation, is the social side of it, the common room. So this is where you meet like-minded people, share experiences, recommend things, and this is where the idea behind Triple was born. So we are solving the problem of feeling like a tourist while traveling. So what do we do exactly? Well, we're an experience marketplace connecting travelers with local hosts. And the idea is that we give them a more memorable and personal experience.
Office furniture is being thrown away. Also, we move more than 1.3 million times per year in Sweden. And it's time to think about the environment. I'm Sebastian, and I'm one of the founders of Belco. Belco is the world's first design-on-demand service. But if we look at the on-demand economy today, it's huge. All of you guys probably use on-demand services for a lot of things, like listening to music, going places, and working. But we saw a gap. No one was working with furniture on demand. So we do furniture and art on demand, and you just choose between more than 50 brands, and we have more than 1,000 products and counting. So you went to our website, you choose the product. This is a Danish designer, and we deliver, we carry it, and we assemble. So you don't have to do anything, because we also remove your old furniture that goes to second hand. So it's all part of the circular economy. It's great for you, and it's great for the environment.
Hi everyone, I would like to start by telling a story. Imagine you're standing in a shoe shop and you're just about to buy a perfect black pair of leather boots. And just as you're about to pay for them, you realize that one of the uppers has a scratch on them. Immediately, you think the leather is defective and you ask for a discount. But instead of getting a discount, you get a story. You get a story about a great life. You get a story about an animal, a cow, who's been able to outdoor possibility every day and access to fresh water. As these may seem like simple things, none of these are standard today if you are a cow. Even if it is a fact that between 2009 to 2011, 6.4 billion tons of bovine leather was produced. 40% of the greenhouse gases are currently coming from bovine, pigs, and sheep. If you're getting that story, would you then choose the leather with or without scratches, with or without signs of a life well lived? I believe by given the choice, we wouldn't choose the discount. We would choose the leather with the great stories. My name is Josefine. I'm the founder of the self-titled fashion brand Josefine Likis. And I work with a combination of transparency, technology, and supreme craftsmanship in order to improve global animal protection. So I have created something called fully transparent animal supply chains.
And then it was voting time.
We should announce the winners of the Pitch Up 2017 competition. Amazing job, and yeah, this was the voting, so you won, you had 92 votes.
So Triple was the travel app, in case you forgot.
And thank you so much for coming. Do not forget we have an after party coming up, and see you next year.
So that's it for Uppstart 2017. Or, of course, except for the after party just mentioned. I won't go to the after party, instead I'll just go home and cut this video. So, bye-bye Castle. Thank you to all of the people who organized Uppstart. Thank you very much for making it free. I'll be back next year. And if you are a person who happens to be in the Uppsala, Stockholm area, I highly recommend you to swing by Uppstart if you have the chance. Review of the conference? Super good. I'll see you in the next video. But on a more general note, even if you're not in the Stockholm-Uppsala area, let's just reflect on the fact that all things that are free aren't necessarily bad. This is super fun, super good. If you have a chance to attend tech conferences, just do it. Super fun. I'll see you in the next video.